Welcome to the Luton Ladies Lowdown. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm joined by a very special guest, Elly Wade, the captain of the Luton Town Ladies. Welcome, how are you today?
Hi, how's it going? Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Excited to be on the podcast. Thanks for having me.
Of course, you're more than welcome. Okay, let's look back at the last game against Haringey Borough FC Women and any other news from the ladies team.
Yeah, so it was a really great win. Like we always say, going to Haringey, it's quite like a tough place to play. They have a good support. It's in quite a nice stadium. They always have like a drummer, so it is like an intense place to go. And we go with the idea that if we can get potentially even a point, that's quite a success. And sort of going a goal down to a free kick within the first 10 minutes. Like I can't lie, she's going to do some damage with that free kick. She got it, and it was fired straight in. They got another one quite quickly, hit the bar. So Hud's got a save, and it hit the bar, and we were like, okay, no more fouls there. But yeah, the girls completely bounced back. Like didn't get phased at all because it being so early in the game. We thought, okay, we've got plenty of time to get back into it, and yeah, we did with Amber Leighton's goal. There's a few calls for offside, but I think one of the players was just playing her on, and sort of like really like cool and calm, just on the edge of like the 6-yard box, she slots it in, and it was really nice for her because she previously played for Haringey, so it's quite tough. Like speaking from experience, going and playing against a team that you used to play for. So I think that definitely settled any nerves if she had any. And then, so that was in the first half. And then just before the end of the first half, Gabs was taken down in the box. And we all kind of joke with her because of her like pace and her speed. Mm-hmm. She often gets clipped and she stays up. And we're like, look, Gabs, you need to, when you get clipped in the box, like just go down. And so we all kind of like made a bit of a joke and a laugh because she got clipped, she went down, completely valid. And yeah, Tash, nice and cool and calm, got us to 2-1 before half time, which is nice to go in with the lead.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously Gabs has been very impressive so far this season. I watched her in the Stevenage game, and she was breaking pace. She was outpacing everyone, and they were definitely outclassed by her. That was the first 2 goals.
Yes.
And
then, so third goal was Carla Todd, who's sort of like come in and been introduced as a new first team player from previously playing at one of like the younger ages. So came through Luton, and got just sort of almost out of nowhere gets the ball and takes on sort of 2-3 people and then knocks it past the keeper, which in fairness isn't an easy feat, because I'd have to say their player of the match to me was probably the keeper. She's class for them. And then the fourth goal was mine, which was probably the most underwhelming of the 4, if I'm honest. Just a corner comes in, like Fee whips it in, and it hits the inside of the post. And so there were some calls for it to go over, but just to make sure, I just tapped it in.
Yeah, and it was Fee who actually got the player of the match for her dominant display on the left, and her corners caused all sorts of problems. She also got the assist, which was obviously for you. There was a fun thing one of the friends of the pod said about Carla from the third goal. He said she should be called Sweeney Todd, the way she carved up the defence. Which I just thought was...
That's a valid sentence. Yeah, she did. She did one, and we were like, keep going. She did another and did another. And you think, like, sooner or later, she's going to be one-on-one with the keeper. And that's exactly what happened. And yeah, again, like really, like 3 really calm goals for the first 3. Because I know sometimes when you're one-on-one or a penalty, there's a lot of pressure. It's almost harder than if you have kind of got a defender in front of you, because then you're not necessarily expected to score. But yeah, I think all 3 of them, like, great goals, and really calm and chilled.
And it's also really good because Haringey Borough, they are actually a very strong team. They finished 3rd last season, and they kept hold of a number of their key players during the off-season. And as you said, they opened the scoring with a direct free kick from Chloe Irons in the 7th minute. But yeah,
yeah, they've always been. It's always a tough place to go to. They're a tough team. Like we always know that they're probably going to finish like top 3 or 4. I know they've had like a slight change in players. They've got a lot of young ones in, but it's a great sort of like, it's a great thing to have like the youth in your squad. We have the same thing. We have a lot of like youthful players, but they bring just a different level of the game in comparison to sort of some of us slightly more experienced. We don't say old. We say experienced.
Mature and level-headed. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a great game. On to some other Luton questions. Obviously, it was a very promising performance, winning 4-1 away from home, and obviously the 1-0 win the week before against Stevenage. Yeah. Is this, in your opinion, is it a case of the team starting to click more? They've had a few games together now, or is it just more of what we can expect from games going forward, like last year?
Yeah, I think we're always normally challenging for sort of like one of those top positions, and I think, like you said, we've had a lot of new signings, and that can sometimes unsettle a team. But a lot of them played during pre-season, and like you said, there's quite a few like Bedford players that have come in. I know you talked about that in your last podcast, and that to us, that's great, because if there's sort of like 4 or 5 from one team coming in, they already know how each other play. We've always played against Bedford, and so we are, if anything, we're familiar with them as well. So it's not like completely like strange new people coming into the squad. It's players that we know. I've played up against Tash for years and years. We played, I think, in the younger like age groups when I was at Leighton United. I think she was at Bedford. So we know each other and we know how each other play. And so I think that helps to make the team gel and to click together.
Okay, brilliant. And obviously we've talked briefly about Gab Spillman. The quote from the friend who was at the game said she was very creative going forward. There weren't any wasted movements from her in the Haringey game. And just obviously she's been brilliant so far this season, with potentially the exception of she doesn't go down when she could. And obviously following your comments in the Adobe FA Cup, you said she's someone to look out for. Mm-hmm. Is she still meeting, or is she far exceeding those expectations so far?
Yeah, she exceeds them every week. She's such a talent. And I think I used to say like she's great for her age. And if anything, that's a bit of a disservice to her, because she's great in general. Like she's a confident player. Like even when she came into the team at 16, she was talkative, she's friendly, she's sort of like competitive. And those are sometimes like traits that you don't necessarily get with like a young player coming into a team full of like the mid-20s or the 30-year-olds who are already well established, sort of like we've been there for a few years. But yeah, she's thrown herself in and performs week in, week out, and has somehow upped it for this season, because yeah, every game she just pushes forward. She's really positive. Her pace. I used to be the fastest person in the team. Not anymore. I can no longer say that, which is a shame, but I'm more than happy to hand that title over to her. Yeah, and now obviously we can say that she's dual signed for Crystal Palace, so a professional women's team. And for her, it's just going to be up and up, really. And yeah, I'm excited to see sort of where she ends up. And I'm sure when I retire, I'll be keeping an eye on whatever team she plays for.
So still one to definitely look out for.
Absolutely.
Very excited to see.
Yeah.
Next we have obviously Amy Butler. She retired at the end of last season. She was a big part of the Luton team. And we've had Sarah Hudson come in from Real Bedford. How has she settled into the team? Does she command the box? Does she have that kind of presence about her?
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, losing Amy is a massive loss. She was a great player as well as sort of a great friend to a lot of us, and happy she's going on and moved on to other things. I think she's coaching now, so she's still involved in the game, which is great. And as everyone knows, sort of having a great goalkeeper sometimes can be the difference between like winning and losing this league. And so Hud's coming in. she's fantastic. Like she's settled in really well. Like I've already said, like she knows a few of us anyway. She's got her Bedford girls there, so she feels fine. But she's a very confident player. When you say demand in the box, well and truly, it is her box. But I love that. I love someone who's constantly talking, constantly sort of like shouting, like left, right, this, that. It's as a centre back. That's exactly what I want. I want sort of like a strong, confident, powerful keeper. And yeah, she's all of those things. She's great.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think she won the Golden Glove last season as well.
Did, yes.
So quite the prospect to get into the team for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else? Obviously, you're the captain of the team. Anything about it you want to talk about of any of the new signings or any of the other team players at the minute?
Yeah, so there's been so many. I'm sort of almost lost track myself. But there's Liz Mulvaney, who had her debut and then also got player of the match. So she's an incredible centre midfielder to come in. And I mean, this is going to be coming out later on. And so Jess Mackay returning,
of course,
is obviously it's going to be posted today. So we're allowed to say it. We're allowed to talk about it. So yeah, obviously her coming back because she has big shoes to fill for a number 10, a captain, a person who was there for years and years in the squad. So yeah, everyone's thrilled to have her back. All the Bedford girls. So yeah, like CJ, so Chloe Martin, who also got the goal in the Stevenage game. Huds, Cheska Partridge, Tash, sort of like all of these really, really key players who have joined the team. We have another new signing who we've been waiting for international clearance. And so I don't know, I probably don't want to talk about her too much because just in case the clearance doesn't happen yet, but she's incredible. So she played a few games during pre-season and yeah, she's a centre back and she's great. That's all I'm going to say. But look out because there will be another announcement coming soon. And yeah, she really like fills out that back line. We've got Nicole Farmer, who's just come in and is like come straight back she's now playing right back. So she's played in the Eastern Region League for a couple of teams. I think she played at Stevenage before. So I mean, there's more. There's loads and loads. There's Celine Ray from Stevenage, who's a great sort of like secondary keeper as well. I mean, there's more. I think we've had about 9 new signings, but they've all brought depth and competition, which is exactly what we want in this season and in this league. And I think it's going to help us hopefully finish in one of those top spots.
Definitely. I mean, that's been the goal for. Obviously, it's the goal. But obviously, as we talked about in the end of season awards, it was obviously second last year, second the year before. You would hope, obviously, with the incoming players that we've had so far this season, it's definitely on the cards.
Yeah, I don't think I emotionally can handle another second place.
No.
I've been there. I think it's my 6th year, and I think it's been second more times than I'd love to mention on a podcast. So hopefully it can be the next one up, just for me.
For sure. We've all got our fingers crossed for that, for sure. I've definitely got to say as well, when I went to the Stevenage game, Chloe Martin looks absolutely incredible on that right wing. She was beating players all the time, and she also was able to defend as well, which is something you kind of want from your midfielders. And obviously the shot that Tash Fensom had near the end of the game, we were all on tenterhooks to see if that was going in or not. But yeah, it's definitely been brilliant to see kind of these players coming into the team and the impact they're already having. Obviously, with Tash Fensom getting her first league goal, she did score in the pre-season, but now obviously she's got a goal as well. So yeah, it's very exciting times at Luton Town Ladies at the minute, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of new dangerous players who are like I've played against for years, so I'm kind of glad they're on my side now.
Okay, and then another question, a random question this is kind of my one. What does the current team training look like? Because obviously I don't play football. What does it look like for you and your team?
So there's lots of different things that are involved now this year. So we do like our normal training where we practice like different formations. So obviously we want to make sure that we have maybe like an attacking and a more defensive formation that we're all very, very familiar with. Practicing certain things, I won't say too much just in case the opposing teams decide to watch this for some tips. But yeah, just things that we want to get better at, set pieces, sort of like defending and attacking those to make sure we know the right types of movements. It feels so professional this year. Mm-hmm. That's what I will say. I think everyone has upped it. The girls, the staff, the management. It's lots of additional things that really just make it feel more professional. And we also have stats and analysis sessions now, which we didn't have previously. Okay. We had a nutrition session with a sort of like a nutritional company. So what you should and shouldn't be eating, stuff before a match, stuff during, stuff after, all things that as amateur footballers we kind of wouldn't really have an understanding of, that can just make those small little changes each game. And then we even have gym sessions. So our GM, Nikki Baker, managed to sort out David Lloyd once a month. So we get to do some strength and conditioning and a little bit of like relaxation in the spa and the pool as well.
Okay, so basically overall, everything has elevated in terms of not just training, but also the players that come into the team, the team currently as well. Everything has gone up a notch this season. Yeah,
everyone's definitely raised the bar. And it's nice because when we see it happening from the top, so the staff, the coaches, etc., it sort of gives you even more of an incentive to do it as a player. And so I think then when you're doing it, then the other players that come in, they see this is the standard, this is the way that we are, this is the expectations. We introduce fines. And I think that is just shows that like it's a little bit more serious this year. And hopefully those small little changes are maybe the difference that we didn't perhaps have the years before.
Okay. And that leads me into another question, which is how's the team spirit currently? Obviously, you've just had a win. How is it in the Luton camp at the minute?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels nice. I think it's nice to have sort of the existing players who have like stepped up and more confidence grows, I think, every year. And then, like we've already kind of said, the new people coming in, they're all confident. They'll probably know someone. And if they don't, it's always been a really nice atmosphere at Luton. It's the reason that I continue to stay and continue to play, because they're my teammates, but they're also close friends of mine. And the whole atmosphere is great. We have a team social on Friday, which is our first official one of the season. And so we've got as many of the girls as we possibly can, as well as the staff and the coaches. And so that should be a nice thing leading into the weekend's game.
Definitely. And speaking of the weekend game, we'll quickly go into that. After we do this, we can do some very quick fun questions for you specifically, just after that. But yeah, obviously Luton are currently in 5th at the minute. The next fixture is against the team who are just below them, Wroxham FC Women. And that's going to be on Sunday. That is at Barton Rovers, and it's 2:00 kickoff. So obviously it's the off season for men's football. You haven't got any more excuses. Go down and see the ladies. But we've got 2 wins against them from last season. Mm-hmm. Are we going to do the same again? And what are your thoughts on the fixture, Elly?
We'll always hope for getting 3 points against them. They're also a tough team. I think we've had a really, you call it unlucky or lucky run at the first kind of like 4 or 5 games of the season, playing the likes of Royston, Stevenage, Haringey. And I'd put Wroxham in that tough group as well. Obviously, us getting to play at home, we love Barton. It's a great place to go. It also means they've had to travel, which can sometimes affect different players. We know when we go, and it's sort of like a 2-hour journey, it can take an effect. And so hopefully we'll be looking for those 3 points. But I don't think we go into any game lightly. Like, we know anything can happen in football in the Eastern Region League. It's who turns up on the day. And I think we just need to make sure that we concentrate each week, play the football that we know we can play, and end up hopefully with the 3 points.
And just to remind everyone again, that is this Sunday, the 8th Go along, 2:00 kickoff at Barton Rovers. Get yourself down there.
It's a great place, Barton.
It is.
Nice food, nice bar.
Exactly. And you can drink your beer beside the pitch, which you can't do in other football matches.
Exactly. What else do you need?
Exactly that. Right, so some really quick questions for you, Elly.
Yeah.
Do you have any pre-match rituals? Are you superstitious at all?
I'm not at all. I've played football long enough to kind of think that anything can happen. No, as long as I eat something, but normally not too soon to a kickoff. I have little things like that, but no superstitions, no kind of like left sock then right sock kind of stuff. No.
And do you have any songs or playlists that get you hyped up for the game?
Yeah, so we normally have, I think, Cheska on the Spotify, who has a whole mix of everything, which is great because that's kind of like my style anyway. A little bit of like dance music, maybe some drum and bass, a little bit of like rap. And we walk out to Mbappe, which is a nice kind of getting you in the zone song.
Okay, perfect. And then 5 really quick fire questions for you. Super noodles or pot noodles?
Oh, pot noodle.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Spring or autumn?
Spring.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
And the toughest one, scoring a goal or a last-ditch goal line clearance?
Oh, I mean, score a goal. I do I can't lie, I do love a last-ditch thing, but I feel like by the end of the game, no one cares about that.
Sure.
Apart from me.
And then, very finally, just a quick reminder to everyone of Andy Dickens with her GoFundMe, the ACL. That's going to be in the description of this video on YouTube. That, I think, is everything. So, obviously, thank you so much for joining us, Elly.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. And come on, you has.